Hello and welcome to the channel everybody. In this video I'm going to talk about the best value for money gaming PC you can buy at the moment, at least in my opinion, that's also VR capable, triple screen capable, and pretty much anything capable. Well, not anything, but like within reason. You know what I'm saying? So of late I've been experimenting with a few different parts that I think are the best value for money, or what I thought were the best value for money, and then I changed my mind after I bought it. So having a bit of experience up my sleeve, I thought I would do a video on the best value for money gaming PC I think you can buy at the moment. I have this simulator PC here, which is kind of like a gaming PC. And I have my other gaming PC slash editing PC, streaming PC, etc., which is in the other room. But I thought I'd do the video mainly on this one. This is pretty close to what I would say is the best value for money gaming PC out there at the moment. That on the individual parts, if you spend quite a bit more, you're only getting a small amount of performance. I think this is round about the limit to that without spending too much more for a small amount of performance. So let me quickly go through what this PC is and what I would probably change for you guys right now in the current market as of the 20th of April 2020. So this PC here is a AMD Ryzen 2600 CPU, which is plugged into a MSI 370 Gaming Plus Carbon motherboard. It's got 16 gigs of G-Skill FlareX, RAM at 3200 MHz. To keep the CPU cool, it's running a Cooler Master 212X. It's got a MSI Radeon 5700 8GB graphics card. For its main hard drive, it's a Samsung Evo 860, 500 gig. And we also have some optical drives just for like storage and all of that as well, games and etc. The power supply in this is a Thermaltake Tough Power XT 875 watt. And the case is a Cooler Master TD 500 mesh with the included 3 front fans and 3 more in-wind fans attached to the back of it. Now let's start off what I would change on this currently. Now, since I bought the 2600, the 3600 Ryzen has come out, and in fact the 4600 Ryzen might come out in 4 months time from what I'm feeling is, maybe, I'm not sure. But I still do think the 2600 currently is good value for money. In some markets you can get the Ryzen 1600 AF. The 1600 AF is effectively nearly the same as the 2600, but quite a bit cheaper. So if you're really on a budget, you could probably get a 1600 AF if that's available in your country, and that'll be a pretty decent CPU. However, I would recommend spending the extra money to probably go a 3600. When you go from the 2600 to the 3600, you'll get a reasonable performance gain there. Unlike the 1600 to the 2600, not as much of a performance gain. But 3600 I think is the one to go for, best value for money at the moment, if you're mainly just gaming. Now in my other gaming PC in the other room there that I do all my editing and everything on, I would say on that PC I wouldn't get a 2600, not that it's bad, but with that PC, I do a lot of multitasking and all that on that PC, and so I would recommend probably going to at least a 2700 or a 3700 or a 3800, depending on your budget of course. Go for what you can afford, but having the Ryzen 7 instead of the Ryzen 5 when it comes to multitasking can really help when you're editing videos like this, for instance. Things become a lot faster with a Ryzen 7. When you're gaming and encoding and streaming and everything all at the same time, Ryzen 7 comes into its own compared to the Ryzen 5 or even Intel. Intel's not as good as doing the multitasking thing as what Ryzen is. Intel are very good at single core performance, and if you're just gaming, maybe Intel's the way to go. But value for money, I think the AMD CPU is a very good value for money at the moment, and that's what this video is on. So I'm going to stick to the AMD train and let's continue on with that for a second. Just to be clear, the 3600 or the 2600 even can multitask and it'll do it reasonably well, but I just really load a PC up on the other PC in particular, and you know, Ryzen 7 is just better for that. Going on to the motherboard, as I said, this is a 370 Gaming Plus Carbon. This, I believe, is obsolete now. But when it comes to best value for money motherboard, I would say a B450 board is probably where it's at. On my other gaming PC in the other room there, I'm running an Asus B450 Plus motherboard, and that seemed really good. I haven't had any problems with that. Thermals seem to be pretty good. Got a lot of USBs, got a lot of space. No problem at all with that one. If you're going something like a 3800X or something, I'd probably more recommend a X570 board, but you're jumping up a bit in price there. But for a 2600, 3600, or B450 is going to be fine. No problems. Performance is going to be same. And with the RAM, at the moment, I don't think there's a massive benefit to going over 16 gig currently for gaming. Most games don't need more than 16 gig. Most games don't need more than 12 gig. In this one, I'm running the G-Skill FlareX AMD capable type RAM, and that seems pretty good. Especially if you're going Ryzen, you want to try to go the higher megahertz RAM, like the 3200 megahertz I got in this one. In my other gaming PC, I got 3200 megahertz as well, but I got the Ripjaws in the other PC. But Corsair Vengeance, or that, you'll get similar performance between that and this G-Skill FlareX. And on to the graphics card. As I mentioned, I've got the 5700 8 gig in this PC, and I think it's done really well. I do recommend the 5700, but I would probably say if you can afford it, go the 5700 XT. It's a little bit extra for a bit extra performance. I had a Ryzen RX 580 in this PC just before, and the 5700 doubled its performance, literally double the frame rates. I've got a video on that. You can check that out if you wanted to. There is, of course, the 5600 XT. That is a later release, which has similar performance to the 5700 for a little bit cheaper. The reason I would go the 5700 or the 5700 XT over it is because, especially in the future, more and more games are going to be taking up all that 8 gig of GDDR6. And the 5600 XT only has 6 gigs compared to 8 gigs. So for future gaming, I do believe that the 5700 and the 5700 XT will actually outlast the 5600 XT, because in the future I believe the 5600 XT is probably going to start to get bottlenecked by some of the games that will be coming out in the next few years. So value for money, I think 5700 or 5700 XT if you can. However, if you're not a big AMD fan and you want to go NVIDIA, you love NVIDIA, depending on your budget, probably go somewhere between a 2060 Super and a 2770. The 2070s are quite good value for money. In saying that, I've got a 1660 Super and in the other PC, and the 1660 Super does pretty well. Like, I was amazed. And that's only got like 6 gigs of GDDR6 as well. And with the other PC, I haven't had that inkling where, oh gee, I really wish I had a better graphics card. It's been fine for the games I've been playing. Even I use that PC to play Half-Life Alyx and everything in VR. And with the 1660 Super, I've found that it plays it no problems. No real jumping, lagging, frame rates have been good. So if you're on a really tight budget, I guess you can go a 1660 Super and it'll still do a pretty good job. But I wouldn't say a 1660 Super is the best value for money gaming part in terms of a graphics card. I would say go a little bit more if you can. Talking about the power supplies, in this I've got the Thermaltake Tough Power XT 875 watt, but you won't be able to get that one specifically anymore. It's a bit of an older model that I've had for about 10 years now that I've decided to just whack in this PC, and it seems to be going fine still. But I think one of the best value for money power supplies at the moment, I think Corsair does really good power supplies. And I've got a Corsair CX750M V2, I think, in the other PC here. It's a semi-modular 750 watt power supply, which I've had in for maybe a year. And that seems to be quite a good power supply. Haven't had any issues with that one. Being semi-modular, it makes it a little bit cleaner as well. So I'd probably highly recommend one of those. I'm talking about CPU cooling though. In this I've just got a basic Cooler Master 212X, and they're cheap, you know, and this has no problems. Like, CPU temps are good, like 50 degrees kind of good, even under reasonable load. The thing to think about with the 212X though, however, is case sizing. Make sure your case will fit it, because it is quite tall. So some cases won't actually fit that. When I changed the case in my other PC, I used to actually have this 212X in there, and then the new case couldn't fit that. But it does fit in my Cooler Master TD500 mesh here, which is the next thing I'll talk about. There is also the Noctua Nhu 12S. That's quite a good little cheap cooler to bolt onto a CPU for good performance. In my other PC, I've got water cooling. I'm running the Cooler Master ML120L, I think the small water cooling one, because it won't fit any bigger in that PC. And that does similar performance to what the Air does. So it doesn't matter. Air, water, same. Air's more reliable, less chance of failure of pumps and all that. It's more of an aesthetic thing. You want the good looks of water cooling? Yeah, sure, go for it. Better LAN portability of your PC maybe with water cooling. But if it's just going to be sitting there on the ground, air cooling's probably fine. Go for that. It's cheap. Does a good job. With the PC case, it's more of a personal preference. However, the TD500 mesh and some of the good Cooler Master mesh cases are really good at airflow. When I changed over to this case, I got 10 degrees cooler in like everything inside the case. The motherboard, the graphics card, CPU, everything got 10 degrees cooler. So a good case is always good for temps. So don't just choose it as an aesthetic thing, choose it as something that will cool your PC parts down as well. Talking about the hard drives, I don't like Samsung in the slightest, to be honest. I won't buy Samsung, but I've had so many bad experiences with pretty much anything with the Samsung brand on it. But I will say both my gaming PCs run Samsung 860 EVOs. They're fast, they seem to be reliable. I've had them for a few years now. Not a problem, quick, reasonably good value for money. In both my gaming PCs, I have the 500 gig Samsungs as my main hard drive. It speeds things up a bit. And then I have additional optical drives to store all the games and everything. There's not much benefit to store games on an SSD other than your load times. Frames per second aren't going to get massively hit like your load times or your PC startup times or anything like that. So value for money, I think it's better to have just a big 4 terabyte Western Digital Blue or something, and that'll be fine to store all your games and all that on. I will leave some affiliate links down in the description to Amazon and all of that, like most YouTubers do. I don't really want to talk about the price too much, especially with the pandemic thing that's going on at the moment. Everything that's going on in the world is just, prices are fluctuating everywhere. So my suggestion is check out the links in the description, check the prices, check your local PC store in your particular country or wherever. Find the best prices for you and buy whatever. Amazon's a pretty popular place to buy stuff from for a lot of the world. So I've left those affiliate links down below. Anyway, that's my best value for money gaming PC that's VR capable and triple screen capable and all that stuff. Thanks for watching this video, everybody. Hit that like button if you liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you in the next video.